And then will I just watch it here or do I go back to Facebook?
Just, you can stay right on here and people can make comments right here on the right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I know when they took it off, I totally forgot to tell you that. They took it off and I was like, where did it go? And that's why I do this now, because they completely took it off.
Yeah.
And I think they did it at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where am I? I need to go here. I need to go there because it's logging. It's on mine, so I'm going to put onto yours.
Okay.
Come on. Come on, computer. So you're on call.
Yeah. Okay. So if an ambulance call comes in, I have to go. But that's pretty much that's usual for me.
Yeah. You don't have to go, really.
Well, I mean, if they have a respiratory call, I don't know if I want to go. I really don't.
True. Okay, so Chrissy. Share on a page. No, I want to. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to share. Chrissy. Come on. There we go. Ooh, wrong Chrissy. That would not be a good Chrissy to pick.
Might be confused.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So, and then I can always edit this.
Okay.
All right. Post.
Now we're kicking.
We should be. Yeah. It should be on your page.
I got a notification. Yeah.
All right. Let me check your page.
Yes.
Over here. Only do. Yeah. We're on your page too.
Yay.
I try, man. My husband's just really the tech person, but I try.
Oh my gosh. I'm learning. I need my kids for that. So now hopefully everyone will come back.
Yes. Let's see where we are. So there is a little lag time.
Okay.
But otherwise, so hi, Chrissy.
Hi. So how are things going for you? Busy?
Good. Yeah. Busy, good. I loved your question. I loved how you got toothpaste in your eye.
I don't even know. But that's like my daily life. Like, if it's gonna happen, it does happen to me. And it was squirted into my eyeball.
So why don't you ask your question to everyone and we can get some feelers out there.
So today, Mental Health Monday. How's your stress level? How are you doing? 1, cool as a cucumber. I'm chill. Life is good. No worries. 10, I'm at my max stress level. Like, I'm done. I can't take much more. So drop a comment. How are you doing? 1 to 10. We want to know.
Where are you today, Miss Chrissy?
I am in Kansas.
No, where are you in your 1 to 10? Besides Kansas.
Today's actually not a bad day. Maybe a 4. Not too bad. Good. Today was good. This weekend I didn't work very much, so I got a little bit break, and there weren't as many conference calls today, and so it was a good day. Where are you at?
Today I'm at about a 5. We had a officer killed on line of duty over the weekend, and I had some officers in need yesterday, and some crisis emergency calls, and had my phone on, which I only do. I try to have self-care, and so I try to shut myself down, but had my phone on. So but today's okay.
Yeah. Last week was stressful.
Yeah.
It was probably at least an 8. easily last week, maybe a 9.
So what do you do when you get that high up?
Well, I do a couple different things. I like to just chill in a quiet room by myself. Or if I can get in the car, I like car karaoke.
Do you watch the James Corden karaoke?
Yes.
I love him.
Yes. Those are so funny.
They are.
But it's like the best therapy to just drive, windows down, and music blaring and sing.
Yes, I agree. So some of the people, Mark, 4 out of 10. Steven, he's a 5. Brianna's a 6. Mitch is a 7. So again, 0, 1. You do 1 to 10. So 1, I love that. Cool. 1 being cool as a cucumber. I love that. I may have to steal it. And 10 being stressed to the max.
Yep.
Where is everyone? Well, I appreciate you asking me to come on. I normally do this too, so I was like, "Whoa, shoot, let's just
that would be awesome." Yes, I don't see anyone that I had on earlier. I don't know why they're not coming on. I don't know where they went, but that's okay. So a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, and 7. It's been a rough day today. Somebody's having a tough day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tough times going around right now.
You know, there really is. And I don't know exactly. I mean, we didn't prep too much for this talk, but I know with the coronavirus and us, are you guys all shelter in place right now?
We are not. Our state has a governor's order. It was less than 50 people in a group, and then today she changed it to 10 or less in a group. But other than that, we're not shelter in place. Counties around us are considering that, and it's causing a lot of mixed feelings in people. There are some that aren't working, not necessarily from the shelter in place orders, but just from the virus itself, and stress is running high for a lot of people. Just not working, or fear of running patients getting sick themselves.
Right. Our shelter in place starts tonight at midnight for 2 weeks. Ohio.
Okay.
For 2 weeks. Essential personnel are allowed out, but I'm like, are you really going to pull us over and check?
Right.
Luckily, we are essential personnel, so we will be out. Yeah, going to work and whatnot. But this time, if somebody already has a mental health condition or unstable mental health stuff, this is a really fragile time for all of us.
Absolutely. You just see I see a lot of providers that are already working max capacity, and this is kind of like just waiting for all the blocks to tumble. They can't take anymore.
Somebody's locked in their office.
Caroline, why are you in your office locked?
Like, are you intentionally locked, or did somebody lock you in to try to play a joke? To see if you know how to take that credit card and
Why are you locked in your office? Actually, that may not be a bad idea some days. I'm just saying, some days.
As long as you have at least a bucket or something to go to the bathroom in.
No, that's true. You do have to have a bathroom.
Some good music.
Absolutely necessary. Oh, you're closed to the public.
Oh.
Yeah, we are too. My door is locked, and I have to go peek out the door every time someone knocks to see who it is, if I can let them in or not.
That's funny.
So I know everybody is really stressed out right now, and they're scared, and there's a lot of fear running around. And so I was thinking of maybe talking about some ways to cope and some decompression tips and just ways to give kind of their mental health a boost tonight. Because I know people are really feeling it, and I
Yes.
think it's going to get better for a little while. So if you had some great tips to share, that would be awesome.
Well, I do actually. I was doing some research on the last pandemic or the last big episode we had and how it affected people, because we again are a community of already traumatized or high stressed individuals, like you're saying. So I was trying to do some data and research, and there were some new recent articles coming out, because if I just tell people to do deep breathing, they're going to go tell me, sorry, I may cuss. They may tell me to go F off, and I'm like,
Yep.
right?
That's real
So,
life. I mean, that's exactly the reaction you'll get.
right. So, one of the biggest things, especially if we're having to really remain distant from people, is we can still have contact with people. Is you need to still have contact with people, not like you're up in their face licking it,
Right.
but call people, FaceTime with people.
Yes.
Isolating ourselves, emotionally isolating, is going to really damage you and cause irreversible symptoms that are going to, if you already have an issue or anxiety or PTSD, it's going to what's called interrupt that recovery process. So it's really important to stay in contact. And the last thing you want to do, especially if it's dark or dreary or rainy or snowy, is get off your butt and go outside. But that's the other piece, is getting out, getting movement. Because when your physiological response system to stress, so your cortisol and all these chemicals I'm not going to bore you all with, when you get stressed out, they rise up, and that actually causes body pain. It causes your immune system to decrease, and we don't need a decreased immune system right now.
Yeah, especially now.
Right? So one of the biggest things is, not that I'm telling you to go run a marathon or anything, but you got to start doing something little, going on a walk, getting outside of your four walls. If you're not physically able to, meditation. Meditation is huge, because you can, in your mind, well, your mind is your most powerful muscle. Your mind, you can go in and you can meditate. And if you don't know how to meditate or use mindfulness activities, it's really simple. You can YouTube it. But those are the two biggest things right now that I'm really working on people with, is just reminding them and habitually working it into your daily practice.
Definitely.
Yeah. What are you guys noticing, or what are you like with your peer supporters or the group that you're running? What are you guys trying to work on?
A lot of just reaching out. I think sometimes we just really isolate ourselves. We put the brave face on, like, I'm good, I'm golden, no worries. And it's very tiring for the providers to put that mask on. So really just working on, like, it's okay to say, hey, today's a 10. Today is not a good day. And just to be able to talk about it. We don't have to keep it to ourselves. Several I've talked to recently, they're just keeping it inside because they feel like everybody's already burdened and they don't want to make it worse. And so they're just keeping it to themselves. So really the biggest thing right now is just being able to say, hey, I need somebody to talk to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brianna, the Superman cape, for sure. Hey, will you guys post where you're all at in the country or in the world? Will you let us know so we know a little bit about you guys? Because I don't know some of the people out in your neck of the woods.
Right.
But yeah, that's so true. Is we will tend to be like, I don't want to burden that person, so I'm not going to tell them how shitty of a day I'm having.
Right.
But what helps that, the biggest downfall is people will say, I was listening to a podcast last night. I actually had to drive an hour to give my husband, they needed a thermometer at their fire station. Theirs broke. And my sister had an extra one because none of the Walgreens around here had one. None of the Kroger's, nothing. So my sister had one, so I had to drive to get her house, which is 30 minutes north, and then I had to drive past our house, which is 30 minutes south, past 20 minutes south again, almost an hour to get to my husband's firehouse, which he wasn't even there. He was on a run. So I literally had to like drop it off to somebody and like leave. I'm like, here you go. But I was listening to a podcast, and one of the biggest things that it's Brene Brown. She has a new podcast. If anybody she just launched her podcast. And one of the things she talks about are called the FFTs, the effing first times.
Ah.
So when you have an effing first time moment in life, it's okay to have these responses. It's okay to be like, are you having this happen too? Yeah. Because when you share that, you feel like you're not alone.
Right. Exactly. I think that it's helpful to know, like, this actually is a normal reaction, and what you're feeling, everyone else or many are feeling as well. And I think that just brings comfort to know, like, there's not something wrong with me. I'm having a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. And I think that, just knowing, like, hey, we're all in this together. It's just reassuring to people, but getting them to that point is probably one of the hardest things I've seen, so we're willing to speak up. And so it takes, all of us to be brave and say, sometimes I'm not okay. And that's okay.
Yeah. Do you think, Chrissy, somebody can be brave and vulnerable at the same time?
I think that is being brave. I do.
Do you think that there's a time where you wouldn't be vulnerable and brave at the same time? Like if I wanted to hold the door for somebody, is that any type of vulnerability?
Sure. Putting yourself out there for someone. You have no idea how they'll respond to you. Absolutely.
Yeah. When we break it down to that little bit, that little nugget, like, and I do this all the time with people I work with, is if you hold the door for somebody, they'll tell me, well, that's just good manners. I said, okay, if you're a cop or a firefighter or a first responder, you're normally, one cop in particular said, I feel vulnerable because I don't know what they're going to do and where my gun is.
Definitely.
And I was like, oh, that's true. But the other piece is, if they don't say thank you, or if you don't feel appreciated, then do you feel like you were belittled or that you were taken advantage of? It took bravery to put yourself out there to open the door to have maybe somebody appreciate you or not.
Yes, absolutely.
So in this instance right now, reaching out to somebody and saying, hey man, hey girl, hey chick, whatever, hey sister, whatever you want to call your persons, your human beings in your world, and say, I'm just reaching out. I hope you're doing okay.
Yes. Perfect.
It's kind of the same thing of opening that door, whether they say thank you or not, whether they say anything or not, it's doing that.
That's a great way to put it. I like that.
Thanks.
Tough. It is tough. And we, especially, I feel like as responders, we want to be that brave, strong, appearance. Like, I got this. It's that Superman cape. That I've never heard that before, but that is really true.
You haven't? You've never heard that?
If I have, I don't remember, but I don't think I've heard that before.
Oh yeah. That's a term that therapists also like to use when somebody has like the superhero mentality, like they feel like they can save everyone.
Yes.
So very similar.
I actually do have a cape hanging in my office.
Oh, what kind? What kind of cape is it?
Pink Superman cape.
I would really hope that you wear that.
I have for it.
Can you wear it like on your next medic run?
That would be fun. I mean, maybe. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, you'd probably get in trouble, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. It depends on who it is. Bravery is a heavy mask to wear. Yes. Hey, Dave. How are you doing tonight? He's a director that is near couple counties over from me.
Okay. Now, are you county EMS or are you?
Well, we have different makeup in Kansas. So you can be private, county, city, hospital based. And so my own service is city based. Myself and another director, their city, we make up the whole county. And then there's some services around us that they're county based. For myself, we're city based.
Okay. Yeah, we just have either private or you're attached to a fire department.
Oh, really?
So fire departments either, cities, townships, villages, but basically their own entities.
Interesting.
So I want to touch on David's comment. Bravery is a heavy mask to wear, right? You said that. And you're right. It's true, because when we are brave, right, that vulnerability piece is also, there's an opportunity to feel shame or guilt.
Yes.
And it's really easy, especially if you are in this field as a first responder, to blame ourselves or to say, what could I have done differently?
Yep.
How often we do that, right? So we have bad calls that happen. You're right. We have good calls that happen. But our brain actually stores the not so good calls more than right. So it files it in a different way. Like you were to get cut, and that cut is there, but then you have a little nick next to it, and that nick healed up, but that little nick that healed up really is unremarkable. So how we store in the bravery piece, there's a huge power. You have an internal power of being able to change the meaning behind how bravery is heavy for you. And I don't know if that makes sense or not. What do you think when I say that?
Say it one more time for me.
So changing the meaning behind bravery is a heavy mask to wear. So if we change the meaning or the story we're telling ourselves about that, it will change the direction of the thought process of what we mean by it or what it means to us.
Yeah, definitely. I think of a call that for several years I blamed myself. I held myself completely responsible for the outcome. And I told myself repeatedly, I would say, I did that. I was responsible for that. And that's how my brain was thinking about it. And whenever I'd have a conversation, that's exactly what I would say is I was responsible for that outcome. And it took a long time to where now when I think about it, it's a sad thing, but I don't tell myself I did that to that person. So I've had to change, and it's not as like it isn't weigh on me like it used to.
So what do you say to yourself instead of saying I did that to that person? What do you say instead?
I say I made the best choice I could with the information I had at that time. But it took me about 4 years to be able to do that. 3 or 4 years.
I'm sorry it took so long.
Yeah, it's my own doing. I mean, that's the truth of it.
But at the same time, that process, that 4-year process from an event to the time that you were able to change that thought process, what did you learn about yourself during that time?
Well, I learned that I never talked about it. I held myself responsible for everybody. So being, in charge of everyone, I felt like I was responsible. And so I learned that I did not talk about with other people how I felt. I felt like I had to wear that mask and that I had to be brave and that I couldn't show emotion about it. and that I was not good at taking care of myself and allowing myself to have those feelings. And I'm much better about that now.
Yeah. So it sounds like for you, Chrissy, that time you have learned then what it looks like for somebody to be in that same spot that you were in.
Yes. And I've watched so many of my friends go through that and
Yeah.
try to get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so you are kind of the director
I'm the
of.
director of our service. And they're actually, it's a volunteer service. So I'm the only employee and they're all volunteers. So they
Wow,
do
that's
this
great.
for no pay.
Wow.
So,
And that's the peer support service?
um, so yeah, we're working on peer support teams and, we just have two of us on my staff, myself and the assistant director that are peer support trained. And then we, regionally have helped, I've helped other departments. And then on the state level, we've started the Peer Support Society. And then I'm in charge of that, the president. But we're really it's not about me. It's all of us together taking care of our responders. So we're holding meetings and trainings and education for
Yes.
peer support providers so we can keep them encouraged and working on conference and symposium. Just so sad. This virus has done a lot of different things, and we had this really amazing symposium planned for May, Peer Support Recovery and Resiliency Symposium, and we had to postpone it till September, but that's okay. It's going to be amazing. We have Daniel Sundahl coming, Dan Sun Photo Art, and I have a great speakers that are coming and telling their own story of recovery. And so just try to get those resources out to our providers and networking. It's so important.
That is great. Yeah, we recently went and talked in Illinois at the Illinois Peer Support Symposium. And I will say that what you guys are doing and building it is definitely needed. It's needed in every state.
Yes.
But without your story, Chrissy, and I see somebody saying you're the best, and I know you're not going to take full credit, but without your story and the other individuals that are helping with what you've been through, without that, that is your motivation and passion to keep going.
Yes.
And you're able then to see those signs and symptoms and those things when somebody's struggling because you've been there.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And I haven't had the big personal crisis point. I have not experienced that. And so I try to be really careful that I don't know what that is like, but I understand the struggle.
Absolutely.
But I try to be careful that I've not had to experience the depression or being, suicide ideations. So I don't know what that's like, but I can relate that I know what the stress is like.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to downplay what others have been through and try to make, light of that.
No. I think there's a question on there.
Grady, yes, we do a talk with crew members after a call. We watch that. I know other departments as well, and we get someone in touch with them when there's been a tough call. If it's really traumatic, we pull them off the truck and get them taken care of. They may have to go off shift if necessary, but we do a hot wash and talk to them right away, and then we like to follow up within 48 to 72 hours.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what a hot wash is an immediate after action after it's a discussion or evaluation after a mass event or a possible traumatic event. Right. One of the really cool things that our area is doing is they are, depending on where you are in our area, is we have like the peer supporters. We have 80 or 90 on the team, and they can be dispatched to a certain area. But we also then, depending on your department, between the chief and the AC and the sergeant or whoever and HR, they will let somebody go on leave or give them, a reprieve or whatever is needed. And what is the coolest thing that I'm starting to see is, CISM and CISD have a place, and they are definitely transforming, but that peer led initial, just like being a friend, is so important.
It is absolutely important and necessary. It just has to be. We have to take care of each other. And really, that's what I like about peer support, because it is someone that's been on the streets. They know, like, they get it. They may not have run that exact call, but they've ran something similar or something that's maybe triggered that same type of reaction. And so they understand and they get it. That's why I love peer support.
Absolutely. David, thank you so much for sharing that. Sometimes, unfortunately, I have known that it's taken somebody to that limit, and I'm sorry it took that for you. But I'm really glad that it sounds like you're working on things, and that's hard.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, Dave.
It's not an easy journey.
No,
it is not. It is not an easy journey, and making sure you find somebody that gets it. You find somebody that you can relate to. And that's the other thing I tell people all the time, even during this, coronavirus, if you have a therapist or if you have a peer supporter that you don't mesh with, there's others out there. Find another one.
Right.
Don't waste your time.
Right.
It's your time.
And it may happen. You may not mesh with someone. It's just like you may go and get, I don't know, like guys maybe not relate the same, but you go get your hair done and you didn't like how she did it. That doesn't mean you stop getting your hair done. You just go find someone else that you like.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So with the coronavirus going around, are you and your kiddos, are your kids in school, or did they pull everyone out?
Kansas shut their schools down, school buildings down. They are doing some e-learning, but everyone has their kids at home.
E-learning.
Right. I am so happy right now that my children are grown and I don't have to worry about that.
I know. I'm like, oh gosh, what are these kids? I'm more worried about the parents that are going to unfortunately beat their children, and then children's services isn't going to be going in there.
I do think that domestic calls are going to go up as people are trapped at home together. Poor coping skills. There's no one laying eyes on those kids when they go to school. That was their safe place where they were, they got their hugs and meals. And so I do worry about that. But I'm glad.
So what are you guys doing to kind of cope with the coronavirus and being home, and what is everyone doing? Let us know. Are you eating healthy, working out, talking to a friend, talking to the wall? I mean, no judgments here.
Yeah. What are you doing? I saw a meme earlier that said, I need to social distance from my refrigerator.
I was like, I saw one. I sent it to my husband. He didn't think it was funny. I saw one that said, 911, hi, I see someone driving. I don't think they're going to get groceries. I thought that was funny.
That's a good one.
Because as of tonight, tomorrow morning, midnight, we're not supposed to be going out.
Right. So. We found one that said, asking for prayers for all the husbands that told their wives they'd save those projects for when they have time. Because now.
Oh, yeah, I made a to-do list.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, prayer. Prayer is huge. I mean, not huge, but it is huge. But it's so important. Mm-hmm. So important.
Talking with close friends. Yes, especially for me, I'm an extrovert, and so not being around people or going out, like, that's stressful for me. I don't like sitting at home, and I'm not a sitter, so this is tough for me, and I'm sure others. So talk with close friends.
If you're an introvert, you're probably in heaven right now.
Right. Like, you waited Always.
Yes. You're like me. I'm like, every day I normally have to leave this house, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna crawl my. I'm like, oh my God, I have to leave. I have to leave. I have to. The neighbors I don't know, maybe down the street, I'm gonna go meet them.
Right.
I'm gonna have to find new friends.
We were at Walmart and Dillon's, which is our grocery store, over the weekend, and I was talking to every person. My husband is not, he's an introvert. He's probably watching right now. But I literally was having this long conversation with every person I came across because I just need to talk to people.
Right. My husband's like, no, I'll go to the grocery. I'll be faster. I'm like, but why? I want to be the one talking to people.
Yes.
He's like, you look like you're crazy. I'm like, but I need to talk to people.
I need people.
David, I'm in Ohio, Cincinnati area. So, so introverts, if you're probably loving it. Extroverts, you're probably having a harder time, and we need more contact with people to recharge our batteries.
Same. Caroline, what are you same with?
Prayer, probably.
Maybe prayer, probably. Going to the EMS office this afternoon was the highlight of my day. I was so glad to see you today, April. I'm glad you came. She's one of my EMTs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. She had to get fit tested for the mask. But I got her out of the house.
Yeah.
I feel
very good
on the ambulance and I do it my real job. I also worry about my wife and son. Right. His wife and son work at the grocery store, so I know there are concerns.
Yes, I would imagine. There's a book called Hard Time. It's by Ben Horowitz. I'm gonna have to look it up. So the other thing I've been trying to do is, if I had time, is reading some awesome books. So The Hard Thing About Hard Times. The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. And if you're a leader in this field, especially, this is a book you need to get.
Nice.
Because one of the things, especially in the back of the book, he talks about is there's a difference between when you're a wartime officer and a peacetime officer. So if you think of being in command and you're in command during peace, which was a month ago, if not less, and things were, jovial, or you just went through everyday business, and now it's almost wartime, the different decisions you have to make and what you need to do. If you are a small business owner, or if you have to man, a station, or if you have to cut crews or whatever, it's a really good, a good book. Is there anyone else reading any books or podcasts? I'm really big into podcasts too. That anyone else is listening to?
I found that I had to stop listening to podcasts because I was only listening to coronavirus podcasts, and I was feeling sucked up into it. I had to step away.
So let's also talk about the media. You all gotta limit yourself with the media, because the media, especially if it's fake news or incorrect information, is just going to fuel your anxiety. You can check in, even on Facebook. You may need to limit it.
Yes.
You can check in, but then you need to limit how you're exposing yourself to media.
Yep.
It's really important.
You can just feel that anxiety build in your body as you are scrolling and you're watching, and there's this news conference, then the next news conference, and the next, and you just feeling it build up in your body. And I can feel it in my shoulders. And if I don't step away, I feel my stress going up, and you feel like it's closing in. You have to step back from it and take a break.
Yes. So I'm looking at some of my notes I wrote earlier. Staying occupied, reinforcing that. Where did it go? you're reinforcing the actual factual information about all this versus the incorrect news. Being obsessed, Kathy, with the news is okay, but if it's fueling anxiety, if it's making you actually have a physiological response, it's not healthy for you. And it's actually going to break down your immune system and you could be more susceptible. Sorry, that's the truth.
Yep. I could tell a difference how I felt last week versus this weekend. When I stepped away, I wasn't as tired. I didn't feel as stressed out. I felt better as a whole. As a person, I was probably less crabby too.
Yep.
I'm going to guess.
If we have those point people that watch the news all the time, you could say, hey, if there's any updates, let me know. But like, so Kathy, if you left the TV off all day, perfect.
Yeah.
So if you somebody that can say, hey, you may want to turn this on, it's an important update, cool. Otherwise, pick an old Friends show or MASH or, rerun or watch something, or again, put on music. Sometimes not even visually watching something, but either reading or audio stimulation is really healing.
Makes you angry. Some of it makes me a little angry as well.
Yep. Oh, Mark, there's another book he said, the book called Zen of Listening. So that may be good.
I'll have to check that out.
So if you have absolutely no honey-do lists at home, this is a great time to recenter yourself, to explore who you are. Book that you've always wanted to read. Write down your future goals and what you want those goals. What are those goals and what's your vision for the next 6-12 months, with or without the coronavirus? What are the things you want to personally achieve? This is a great time to do that.
Yes.
What are some goals that you have, Miss Chrissy?
Some goals for myself.
On the spot.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks. I have some reading goals. I have leadership books I want to read and do some personal development. And I have some home goals. Like I want to reorganize a few things and get stuff done that I don't normally make the time for. I want to work on that. And I am going to make myself start walking. We'll call it walking for now.
Walking.
Yeah, I'm going to get used to do that 3 times a week. And so my goal is to start getting my cortisol levels down and 3 days a week walk if I'm not running. Some walk or run combination.
Just walk. Yeah, just walk. Just start with walking.
Yeah, we'll see. That's my goal. And to, just try to reach out a little bit to some people I haven't talked to for a while.
Yes. Hi, Mark. Mark DeBona is from Blue Help. He said he's not a fix-it guy. It would cost more for me to try and fix something. My goal I set today is to write a book.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is a huge goal.
There's a really good, I'll have to find it if you want it, if you need help. There's a good structure on how to write a book. I had started writing one and then I stopped. But anyways, there's a good framework if you ever need help.
That is a great goal.
Yeah.
Hey, April. How's it going? Are you at work or home?
Mark Murray, what kind of music did you listen to today? Anything good? It's probably good for you, but was it rock and roll? Yeah. Was it country music? Do you listen to a little bit of everything? Do you like hard screaming music like my husband? Yeah. He had Slipknot on earlier. I was like, really, dude? Come on.
Yeah.
I was like, can we not right now?
Yeah.
But then he'll turn on country and then, he just flips around. It's fine.
Yeah. I work for another hour, April. And then get a day off, 24 off.
You do?
No, not me.
Oh.
No.
Oh, you're asking April, does she get 24 off?
Yeah.
So are you guys 24/24?
Well, so for my department, we run 12-hour shifts, and we mostly have like you're either a daytime or a night shifter, but I take both. So I just kind of hang out a lot on call.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. Eldon, yeah, we can be friends. My husband loves Slipknot. He's gotten my daughter to do the I forget what song it is, but they start on the floor. If you watch any of the YouTube videos. What is it? Spit it out. He can hear me apparently. Spit it out. He's gotten my daughter to do this whole thing that they do. She doesn't know what she's doing, but it's fine. He's also a big I Prevail fan. We both are. We love I Prevail. If none of you have ever heard of I Prevail, they have a great album called Trauma. And I actually had messaged them. We went and saw them. I don't remember when, several months ago. And I'd emailed them about first responders and what I was doing with the group and seeing if, spit it out. Thanks, Eldon. And I had messaged them like, hey, we were bringing a bunch of first responders. We were coming to their concert. Like, just thank you so much. And I think it was probably just their marketing person said, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. And it was nice.
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah. So they have a really good album. It's called Trauma. And then there's somebody else I was going to tell you guys about. I don't remember. Yeah.
Hard, fast, law takes me on my mind. It just gives me a headache. I used to like it.
It depends on where I'm at mentally. So I think music, wherever we are mentally and whatever we need mentally, it depends. I had a really high prestige therapist that teaches world renowned. She says, first responders should not be listening to hard, heavy metal, rock, scream music. It actually increases your PTSD symptoms. And I was like, well, yeah, that's not going to change for a lot of us. No. I said, but what we can do is, again, change the meaning on what that song may mean for us, or if that song's really important for you or helps you, right. Maybe if you're lifting weights, like when I used to lift, I used to do Olympic lifting, and I would always put on some really hard music, but I'd only do it when I was lifting because I would get out, these demons in me because it would help me lift more. But yeah. Yes. Yeah. What kind of music do you like? What were you saying?
Well,
you don't like Slipknot.
No, I'm not a big heavy metal music. I really like 80s music.
Yeah?
I like 80s music. I like 80s rock.
So do you like Mariah Carey 90s style or Mariah Carey 2000 style?
90s would be better. Yeah.
Who's your favorite 80s musician? Good night, Mark Murray.
Good night, Mark. See you later. Be safe. He works at Walmart. God bless you for doing that.
Yes.
I don't know. I really just like all 80s pop, probably the most. Not one particular.
Like
although I will always like New Kids.
Okay, who's your favorite New Kid?
It's always been Joey.
Yeah. Yeah. My sister is much older than me, and so she had the earrings.
Yes.
I remember that. Yeah. She also taught me. So she's 8 years older, and she used to pick me up from kindergarten with her boyfriend, who's her husband now, and they would be blaring Tupac. So I'd get picked up in an El Camino. Yes. Blaring Tupac, and I was by the second grade I could rap, Tupac or Bone Thugs and Harmony. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's really awesome.
So you probably know 80s, you can do 80s trivia like a gym.
Yes, I love 80s trivia. Love 80s music. Everything from Elvis to Ozzy depends on the mood. Yeah. That's nice about music. You can tailor it to how you feel and what you need. Like so much therapy in music.
If you could put on a song right now, what would you put on?
Man. I probably would go with Lauren Daigle. What's that song? What's the name of it? Is it? What's that song? You don't? Oh my gosh.
Nope.
Oh, I really like her.
Yeah.
She's actually like a contemporary Christian, but they play her on like normal pop stations.
Oh, like the Rescue song?
Yes,
you
that's the song.
Only you I want to. That song?
No, not that song.
Oh, well.
What song would you play right now? It's a hard question.
It is. I know I asked you. I should have been prepared. So I'm really big into the score right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a song, I'm trying to find it. There's a song called, is it this one? No, it's not that one. Oh, stop. I'm dumb. But I'm really big into the score right now. Like I like their most people know this song right here. You've heard it on like,
yes,
most people know that song, but they actually have some really good, just like, and I like Five Finger Death Punch, and I listen to them a lot as well. Actually, Five Finger Death Punch, there's a part in there where it shows the Dayton Fire Department, where I'm actually from Dayton area, the Dayton Fire Department, where they had a big fire. And I'm like, one of my friends was like, "Did you see us? That was us." I was like, I had to literally like pause.
Right. Quick flash.
Yeah. Like we were there. You were?
Screenshot it as fast as you can.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So, good night, Dave. Be safe. Night, Eldon.
Great. Laser. Raise Me Up by Josh Gordon. Oh, yes.
A good one.
That's always just a good, heartfelt song.
Yeah.
3 Days Grace.
Actually, the things I've started watching TikTok, and I can't get those stupid songs out of my head.
I started doing TikToks. I have a TikTok account, and then I found out it wasn't regulated and it had stuff in China, and I was like, never mind, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. The song is stuck on my head.
Yes.
Hey, Carrie. How are you, girl? Well, I know you're like an hour ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost 10 there.
Yes.
Well, it's after 10.
Yeah. So I appreciate you allowing me to come on. I didn't know if there's anything else we want to talk about.
I think that was good for tonight. Just touching base about everybody's stress levels and the coping tips that we talked about earlier. I think that just giving people a chance to speak up.
Absolutely.
Was important.
Yeah, and if anyone ever wants to message me, you totally can. Or Chrissy, you've got some great people. It sounds like that you're connected to that can help out. One of the things that I was doing that I've thought about starting back up, it just takes a lot of time, is so when you become a peer supporter, or you have some vague training in peer supporting, one of the difficulties that I found, because my husband and I are both peer support trained, I'm like the only wife I know that's peer support trained, is once you get trained, it's like, then what?
Yes.
And so I had started a peer mentorship program where every week we would do like debriefing calls, or just on. And I had a few people every week on there, and then we kind of faded off because it was just a lot of time. So that's something, if we would want to do, we totally could, if people were interested in that. So that's always something. Yeah. I just think they need support, either like, what do we do in this situation? Because not every call, not every peer, not every event is going to be the same. And being able to process that with your fellow people or a clinician, it doesn't have to be, but somebody is really helpful. And so we've been able to really talk about how to say things and how to still take care of yourself and the appropriate boundaries with stuff.
That's important. You did bring up something that I've thought a lot about is we get our training and then you're just kind of like, hope I don't forget things, or what do I do now? So keeping that, knowledge and training and resources up to date is important.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. I wasn't going to call you out unless you wanted me to. Yes. So Caroline, you guys do monthly meetings and sometimes practice scenarios. That's wonderful to hear. Yes. And some places do that. So here in Ohio, they're starting to do that. But in some states, or if you're really rural, or if you're like your only peer supporter and you're feeling out on an island, I was trying to provide a place for somebody to go that can just basically be a sounding board of other peers as well.
Do you have a lot of providers that are culturally competent in Ohio? We find that being one of our biggest obstacles.
No, there's not a lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I developed a training to train people, though. Okay. But, yeah, that's a political aspect at the moment.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have had providers go into like a therapy session, and we've had the therapist start throwing up in the trash can, run out crying, or just sat paralyzed and they were just traumatized by what the provider said to them. So it's really important, as one of our missions is to identify culturally competent providers, therapists, clinicians that can handle the first responder culture, because it is different than, your average person off the street.
The best way to start is word of mouth. So if there's anyone that you know that has a therapist that they go to that gets it, start with that. Start with that person, because that person may know somebody else as well, that therapist or clinician. In our area, we are having more and more that are culturally competent. But again, I use that word loosely. There's a difference between culturally competent and culturally embedded.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
exactly what you're talking about.
So, and that's not a bad thing. It's still every level and every aspect is needed, but for some people really need that embedation to feel that they can trust somebody and to feel really that they get it.
Right.
But some people don't want somebody that's embedded. They want somebody completely outside of the realm. Totally fine too. So I would try to pick, if anyone has, maybe you could put a feeler out there in your area. If anyone knows of any therapist or clinician or provider, and that they can just send a name your way, so then that you guys could start to make a list.
And it's okay to have a variety so that everybody gets their needs met. We're not all the same. We don't, think the same.
Right. Absolutely. The therapist you told me about, I don't remember who that was. You have to remind me. So, yeah, I know. I appreciate, again, and if there's thoughts or questions you have after this, mental health wise, or however I can help, I'm here. This is a bizarre time for all of us.
Yes. It's brand new for all of us, and we're all just learning really as we go and doing the best we can.
It's as Brene says, it's an FFT.
I want to go look her up. I love her.
I love her. Yeah, I love her too.
Awesome.
So it's a fucking first time. Sorry, it's an effing first time for all of us.
Yeah,
it is.
I don't remember this ever happening in my life or my parents' life.
No. No. And to this, it's a different time. We're so connected by media. There's so many differences now. Oh yes, Samantha. Yes, the therapist that told him to just quit being a firefighter. Yeah. Yep. I do remember you saying that. That happens a lot too.
It does.
And that's unfortunate that somebody would say that off the rip.
Yep.
It's different if you've been working for somebody for 6 months to a year and you're like, listen, we really need to talk about if this is the right choice for you. But off the rip, if a therapist or somebody's like, you need to just quit. This isn't like, that's not cool.
Your knee-jerk initial. It cannot be that. So thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I appreciate it. It was kind of this whole how it's kind of come about is just crazy to me. This is the first time I've talked to you like ever in person.
Yeah.
I've been in your group for a while, and I think actually I found it from Steven Kolvich. I don't know how to say his last name. Again, I've not listened to him in person either. Anyway, I just happened to stumble across your Facebook page and your group, and that's like I followed you for a while, and this is how it's all come about. So it's kind of crazy how I know sometimes things are lined up the way they're supposed to be, and doors open for a reason. And
they do.
It's true.
They do for sure. And I hope wherever anyone is listening knows that Chrissy or myself are available, and there's people all over this country that are willing and wanting to help you. And I believe, Chrissy, you have contacts. I know I have contacts all over the country and world now. So if there's somebody that's in need, let us know, and we'll try and make it happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that you're in my group. Yes. So if you guys want, I love it. You can join it. It's Triumph Over Trauma for first responders and spouses. And Chrissy, maybe one day if you want to do a live, I'm actually going to con you after this into doing something.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining. I appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you find moments in every day that you can just take a moment, regroup, ground yourself, and bring that stress level down, because I really believe this week will be just as crazy as last week, and the importance of taking care of yourself right now.
Thank you very much.
You guys have a great night. Good night.
You too. Night.